As I stated, garrity is part of an administrative process. It is an order by a commanding officer of a police department that orders a person to give a statement. That order is in contradiction with the constitutional right to remain silent. If a person has been read garrity and any statements made from that garrity is not admissible, I cannot use it in a criminal trial. I can't even see it.
And in a criminal case, aside from garrity, an individual who is a subject of an investigation has an absolute right to decline to talk to you. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
That's in the Constitution. They don't have to come forward and make any statement. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
You got a letter, and you told the court about the fact that you had had a contact from someone. I'd like to show...
I'd like the record to be clear who had the contact.
Sustained.
Oh, well, let's. Mr. Donaldson was contacted, correct?
Is the email chain?
Yeah, I'm going to show you.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
Yeah, can I take that from you? Or just hold on to it?
It's fine. It's okay. Thank you.
I asked you the question whether or not you had received a letter from someone, and the prosecutor objected because he wanted it to be more specific. Did you receive a letter?
Yes.
Now, in that email chain, was Mr. Donaldson mentioned?
Yes.
Was Mr. DeFranco, was he mentioned?
It's actually from him.
It's from him?
Yeah. It was forwarded. The email you just presented to me
Yeah.
is an email that says from Carmen DeFranco, sent on Friday, April 17th, 2015 at 2:06 p.m.
Okay.
It's sent to Robert Donaldson, James Gonzalez, myself, and Christine Kowal. The subject of it is Officer William Melendez.
Now, is the letter addressed to just Mr. Donaldson?
That's incorrectly, sir. I'm sorry.
All right.
Because it's a chain, I didn't continue with the chain. It appears that email came from a subject from Teamsters.
You knew the Teamsters Union represented Officer Melendez?
Yes, after getting this email, I was aware of that.
Okay. Now, and the person who sent it to you, does he indicate that he's a lawyer?
Let's see. Can I take a moment to read it?
Madam, take it, read the document.
Okay.
Let us know when you're ready.
Okay. It doesn't appear this person is an attorney.
The letter reflects that
Mr.
Mr.
objective, we're gonna get into content.
You can't, we're not getting into content of it, sir.
Without getting into the content, I will take it back.
Okay.
The request was declined, correct?
Yes.
People have the right to decline a request by police officers to talk,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that request to decline, correct?
Correct.
In your investigation, you were able to review quite a few materials to determine what it was that Mr. Melendez had done, correct?
I'm gonna object to whether or not there were other materials from Mr.
Overruled, I'm
Melendez.
allowed, she's the officer in charge.
Yes, I read a police report drafted by Officer Melendez.
Okay. It was a lengthy and detailed report.
Yes.
There was also, you saw the video, and that was evidence that you had reviewed as well.
Yes.
Okay. You had Officer Melendez's version from his police report, didn't you?
I had a police report, yes.
Stay, and don't go into the detail, that version.
I'm not.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In fact, I'm done with this witness, Judge.
Redirect, cross-examination.
So, Mr. Dent's been arrested a number of times.
Yes.
Ever get beat during the arrest?
Objection. He didn't want to go into the facts of the arrest.
Sustained.
Did he ever get charged with resisting and obstructing?
Not in those criminal records, no.
Is Is there any indication that he didn't do just what he was supposed to do?
No.
Where are we talking about? Out of those
Let's get
records?
away from this line of questioning.
He brought it up.
Well, he wasn't charged, so let's just get away from that. Go ahead, next issue.
There's been some hint in the course of this trial that Mr. Dent was charged with possession with intent to deliver cocaine. Was that true?
No.
What was he charged for?
Possession.
What's the difference?
Possession of cocaine is usually a quantity that is consistent with someone using cocaine as personal use. The quantity of cocaine for delivery purposes is a larger amount that is usually separated into different quantities for distribution or selling.
We heard a lot of testimony about a number of calls to service out at that budget in motel. Did you hold those records?
I requested those records from the chief of police, and she provided them to me.
Right. And how many arrests for marijuana or any drug were made during the course of those?
At that location.
What time frame are we talking about now?
From when to when, Madam?
It was a year. I requested a year, a complete year from the time of the incident, from the time of arrest to the previous year, yes. And in a year's time, there were several calls to that location. However, two of them appeared to, well, one appeared to have happened prior to the battery, domestic situations.
But nothing in regard to the sale of narcotics.
I see one in the report they provided me.
Thank you.
You were here in court when the expert for the defense and use of force testified yesterday, is that correct?
Yes,
And you saw him point out what he identified as turn signals on Michigan Avenue. Were you there for that portion of the testimony?
yes.
Do you know what those blinking lights are?
The blinking light that I observed in that video that he pointed to was actually a traffic control device, a walk and don't walk sign that was situated at the corner of John Daly. It was situated on the northwest corner facing east, and it blinked periodically the sign, walk or don't walk.
And John Daly is well past where the police officers turned in to get the open. Is that correct?
On Fairbairn, it's past Fairbairn. It's the next corner.
You've been out to that location at night where the surveillance was taking place, or what they've said is surveillance?
Yes,
And did you look across the street to see if you could see the budget in?
yes,
Can you?
yes.
And with the aid of binoculars, could you make observations within that parking lot?
Yes,
Without the aid of binoculars, seated where Officer Zielinski indicated he was, could you see that parking lot?
I could not,
And why was that?
because there is an L-shaped brick wall adjacent to it's a party store right next to the Budget Inn. There is an L-shaped wall that goes north and west that would prohibit a person in a passenger seat to see, as the direction was pointed out during the inquiry made with Zielinski.
And even without that wall, what were the visibility conditions into that parking lot without the aid of binoculars?
Would have been difficult.
There are two stop signs depicted as the vehicles are traveling down Oakland, turning into River Street or whatever the name of East River Drive, I think. At one, there is a stop, I contend, and at the second one, there is a rolling stop. I'm just setting this up for you. You know, when I talk about the second one, the rolling stop, which one I'm referring to?
Hill.
All right. And have you driven that route since you were assigned this case?
Yes,
When was the most recent time?
2 nights ago.
And is there anything unusual about that particular intersection?
The stop sign for that intersection, actually it is not a square four-cornered location. If you're traveling down Oakland, the corner at Hill, which would be seated on the left-hand side, is probably about 10 to 15 feet past the corner where the stop sign is. It's sort of offset because where that stop sign is, the road curves. Instead of going into a point, it curves right into the road. So it's offset.
And did you find any significance to that observation?
Yes, you could stop at the stop sign, but you still would have to roll up to get a clear view that you're not hitting traffic from the left or the right.
You agree that was a rolling stop that you observed on that?
Oh yes, it was a rolling stop, yes.
And you're saying that that might be a relatively common occurrence because of the configuration of
I'd
the
ask for the
intersection.
foundation on that one.
Oh,
Yes.
Nothing further.
Relatively common. How long did you sit out there?
Maybe 2 or 3 minutes.
How many people did you see go by?
It was 4 in the morning. No one was out.
Well, how are you going to tell whether it's common or not?
Because if I'm a regular driver. I've been driving since I was 18 years old, and I know that if I go to a stop sign in an area such as that, I got to use caution. And if you don't use caution, you could crash.
You also know, because you've been driven since you were 18 years old, that when a stop sign appears that you're supposed to stop.
anything first?
You thought I
No.
Did you take a car like Melendez's car out there?
I took a sedan, yes.
But did you take a car that was just like
No, I did
Melendez's
not.
car?
No, I did not.
Do you know where Zielinski was sitting in the seat?
Wherever he was sitting, in that driveway,
Yes?
at that location,
Yes?
there was a brick wall.
Let me ask you a question. Did you go out there and take measurements to show where it was that Officer Melendez's vehicle was when it first was there observing from motel? The motel? Is that the place where it was?
The first position?
The first position.
Yes.
Okay. Did you do some scientific study to determine where that car was so that you could put your car in the exact same place?
No.
Okay. Did you do any measurements to determine whether or not your car was in the same place?
Nope.
Okay. You're not disputing the fact that Officer Melendez, with binoculars and without binoculars, had the ability to observe.
I am not.
Okay, but what you're disputing is that the guy that was sitting right next to him couldn't.
No, he could not.
And you're trying to impeach his credibility, are you not?
Your Honor, I'm going to object.
Sustained.
Okay. What was the reason for going out there, was it 2 nights ago?
2 nights ago.
After Zielinski testified.
Yes.
What was the purpose?
I was asked to go out there and get a view of what I could see, and I did just that.
You told us what you could see.
Exactly. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay. You agree with me, don't you, that the video and the camera in the car shows only a limited view of what it is that could be seen, correct?
Correct.
But you don't know what Officer Zielinski did in order to do the observations he did.
Yes.
You do?
Yes. There was an inquiry of him.
Well, are you assuming?
I'm not assuming.
Well, are you assuming he just sat still in that seat?
Based off his inquiry, yes.
Well, what inquiry? I'm talking
Counsel,
about his
let's go
testimony.
on, it's argumentative, I'm gonna leave it to the trier fact, let's move on, please.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Ma'am, when you came here, start the trial, you prepared evidence for the court and the jury to review, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. The video, with the slowing down of the video and the ability to slow down the video relating to the striking of Mr. Melendez, was that something that you prepared?
I did not.
Was it something that you sought to be prepared?
Yes.
Okay. Did you, in fact, limit the area in which you could slow down the video?
My request limited to the actual incident, the physical contact, yes.
You recognize that police officers act based on their observations?
Yes.
You recognize that those observations might lead an officer, a reasonable officer, to have apprehension?
Sure.
Why is it that you didn't slow it down, frame by frame, from the very beginning of the surveillance
Well-
until, I mean, if you know, until the point where Mr. Dent is being struck?
Because to be honest with you, that's where the focus was initially. I hadn't even gone back as far as the beginning of the video to realize that there wasn't question relating to that. So at the time that I got the case, I immediately made that request for the slowdown for the physical contact. I hadn't even gone far back as to sit and watch the entire thing and dissect it.
Okay. Was that something that was your decision, or was that somebody else's decision?
The request to have it slowed down,
Yes.
that was my decision.
And the request not to go back any further than just the incident where there was an alleged assault, that was your decision?
What request? There was no request.
I'm sorry, the decision not to go back any further than the assaultive conduct that was alleged was yours,
Yes.
nothing further.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Step down.
Your Honor?
Mr. Thomas?
Yeah. It is my intention at this point to rest. I would like the court to instruct the jury, but I'd also like to make sure I got my exhibits in.
Ms. Fulham?
Okay.
Madam? Exhibits for the defense? Okay.
Your Honor, the,
A through F, Counselor.
and they have been admitted.
They have, sir.
And, Your Honor, I would like to be sure that we have the phone records and the CAD records for the night in question. Mr. Dent's phone records.
Wait a minute, let's just go through them. CAD records, madam, yes or no? Yes. Exhibit D.
Yes, ma'am? And the phone records for Mr. Dent.
Exhibit B like boy.
Exhibit B like boy.
And, yes, that's it. Okay, that's it, Judge, thank you. We rest.
Very good. Let me say this to you. Every defendant accused of a crime has the right not to take the stand. I will now instruct you that you cannot infer anything from Mr. Melendez's right to not take the stand. The burden began and rests with the people. Rebuttal?
Can we approach for 1 second?
Yes. No. I'm gonna wait to defer to Mr. Donaldson.
All right, thank you.
Well, we got done about a week early, and that's very good. I had an opportunity to discuss this matter with the attorneys. Mr. Thomas is not available Monday. Well, Judge, what are you talking about Monday? Help us. Well, in my discretion and ability to be the judge, I believe that based on the testimony that has been elicited thus far, it will be an aid for the jury to go into a van and we're going to drive that area. What does that mean? That means I have to request a van, which is going to take 24 hours. Mr. Thomas is not available because he's going to be in federal court Monday. Tuesday morning, we are going to have a van to go to actually drive that location in question. Upon our return, I then am going to allow you to present that witness that you want to do regarding the gate. I do believe that it will be helpful for you. I had inquired at sidebar whether or not there was any video regarding that, and it was not. I believe that it will be helpful for the trier of fact to actually view that area, and that is what we're going to do. The van is going to be here promptly at 2 o'clock, promptly on Tuesday at 9:30 a.m., and we are going to drive that. We're going to come back. We're going to conclude with one more witness, one short witness that I believe will be helpful if we do it after the ride. And at that point, I do believe that we will probably go straight into closings, etc. If not that day, first thing Monday morning, because I'm going to give both sides, first thing Wednesday morning, because I'm going to give both sides approximately an hour and a half to do their closing, as well as instruct you as or anything regarding this issue?
Did I hear that right? Yes, you did. It's not a sidebar.
Excuse me, may I have the attorneys at law? The attorneys at law?